this video, I will give you the answer to the most pressing question going into the final shape. Do the Gardener and the Winnower actually exist? I will prove this by examining the lore and providing stark comparisons between Destiny's narrative and the mythos of the mystery religion known as Gnosticism. By doing so, I will tell you how Bungie will be taking the narrative going into the next saga, and more pressingly, prove why the Gardener and the Winnower do exist and may show up in the final shape. Bungie draws from Gnosticism, which is a 2nd century Christianized mystery religion that integrated Greek mysticism with Christian symbolism and semantics. If it's truly the source material Bungie is drawing major themes from, a full understanding of Gnosticism will help us predict upcoming story beats that may be imminent in the final shape, but also beyond in the 2nd saga. Gnosticism developed over time via different lines of teaching from the late 1st and early 2nd century AD. However, it wasn't until the mid 2nd century AD that full Gnostic thought was fully developed. Gnosticism taught that there was a higher knowledge that could only be attained by transcendence from this physical plane to a spiritual essence above it all. Gnostics believed that the material world was a mistake created by an evil and foolish god and needed to be replaced by a transcendence into an elevated existence at the level of aeonic entities above this physical world. This is echoed in Bungie's messaging of integral Destiny theme: Guardians control their own fate. The final shape will be when Guardians transcend the physical and control the paracausal, the essence of the aeonic plane above the physical world. The Aeons are the original beings that existed in a plane of fullness, called in Greek the Pleroma. These Aeons came in gendered male-female pairs or consorts. The original father-mother pair, called in Greek Bythos, meaning father, and Barbello, meaning mother, the source of all light and true goodness. They produced several aeonic entities, and the final consort pair was Thelatos and Sophia. Sophia is what Gnostics call the divine feminine, a source of wisdom and truth. She desired full knowledge of the truth and light in the Pleroma itself, but she was unable to produce anything from her pursuits, which led to her questioning her purpose in the Pleroma and her ability to produce another Aeon. This led to her falling into a state of chaos and confusion. She left the Pleroma, and in a state of despair and shame, produced an entity known as a Demiurge, not aeonic in nature, and born from her confusion, therefore a mistake. The Sophia hid herself from the Demiurge, and oblivious to its true creator, the Demiurge viewed itself to be the one true god, and created the material world. The Gnostics viewed the Demiurge to be the god of the Old Testament, a being that demanded devotion from its servants. The Demiurge created archons, spirits to protect and serve it, and are commonly referred to as angels and demons of Judeo-Christian religions. In ancient literature, angels and demons are called guardians and watchers. Sophia, feeling guilty for her terrible mistake, imbued humanity with a divine spark, the power to transcend and elevate ourselves to the aeonic divine plane of the Pleroma, and to eventually overcome the Demiurge. So, how does this tie back into Destiny? It's clear that the Traveler and the Veil are a yin-yang representation of the Demiurge. The Traveler creates life indiscriminately, terraforming planets and creating technology for its own self-interest, and resurrecting humans into that of a guardian archon, just as the Demiurge did. The Traveler does not represent the light, and merely uses it to further its own self-interests, similar to how the Demiurge does not represent the Aeons, for it is not aeonic in nature. The Witness is also an Archon, only being an alien species that was created in the material world and transformed into an archonic entity due to the powers of the Traveler and the Veil. The Witness understands that controlling the light and dark will lead to transcendence, entering the aeonic plane, where it can truly manipulate existence and thereby enact its final shape, the calcification of the universe. The Witness has not harnessed the power of the light as it has with the darkness of the Veil, and to gain that power, it has to wrestle it from the control of the Traveler. It's only when transcending, mastering both the light and dark, that it can gain the careful control over creation that the Aeons do. Pairing the Witness to the Bible, it is a satanic figure, a fallen angel, an archonic watcher, who desires to take control of creation from Yahweh, the one true God. The Witness, with big eyes that represent it as an archonic watcher, wants to become the one true God. This terminology is stated in the Final Shape Vidoc.
The Witness sees itself as the one true God.
As stated before, the Aeons come in pairs, and Sophia's male counterpart is known as Thelatos. Thelatos is an obscure figure, though there are similarities between him and the Winnower. Thelatos' name translates to volitional, referring to the actions of one's will and their desires, and he does play a role in the creation of the cosmos, bringing Gnosis to humanity to aid Sophia. The Winnower desires a natural end of the universe through the sword logic, which states that entities that cannot prove themselves should be slain by those who are more determined and willed. He wants those who inhabit the universe to live and die based on their own volition. The Winnower also brought the creation of humanity in the Cambrian explosion. Both the Winnower and Thalotos have overlap in their desire for the universe to thrive and end based on the inhabitants' volition. This is why the Witness and the Winnower are different beings. They have different interpretations of the final shape. The Witness views it to be the calcification of the universe into a perfect state, while the Winnower desires the universe to come to its natural end based on the sword logic. Prismatic represents her transcendence and full claim of control over light and dark into a majestic state, a control that should even transcend the need for the traveler and maybe even the ghosts. The divine spark fully realized, humanity controlling its own fate, transcending from human to guardian to paracausal, and now above the demiurge, the traveler in veil, and approaching the plane of the gardener and the winnower, Sophia and Thalotos, the true authors of creation. So we have a direct comparison between Gnosticism and Destiny, though how do I know Bungie is drawing from it? Let's take a look at a piece of lore. The enemy suggests that our rebirth was an evil mistake. How Gnostic. They were a cult, a fleet, a school, a horde, who believed that the source of all suffering was not in our poor choices, but an error of the world's creator, a false, deluded god. In this entry, Eris Morn finds that the statement of the Guardian's rebirth is an evil mistake, similar to that of Gnostic thinking, commenting on their belief in the demiurge. This shows that Bungie acknowledges the existence of Gnosticism and the correlation between Destiny and Gnostic thinking. How do I know that the Gardener will at least make an appearance in the final shape, and that she and the Winnower do actually exist in the lore? And what does this truly mean for the future of Destiny? In the final shape gameplay trailer released in April, we hear an unfamiliar female voice speaking to us.
Take this power, Guardian. Be brave in dark places, for we are the light of hope.
We've never heard this voice before, but when looking into the lore, it's not one that's foreign. And this voice is not of the Traveler, as we know the Traveler communicates to us through dreams and metaphors, never vocally. Looking at the Imperious Sun Ghost Shell, we witness a conversation between Rolk and a ghost trying to find its lightbearer. Rolk is attempting to use the ghost as a vessel to speak to the Traveler. Rolk tells the ghost, "Freedom comes in knowing the thing." Isn't that what she says? But you are unknown, to the universe, to your creator, even to yourself, isolated, past, present, future. Rolk is speaking about the creator of the Traveler, the Gardener, and the way he speaks about the Traveler aligns with what we know about Gnosticism. The Demiurge believes itself to be the sole god. It doesn't know about its creator. Rolk is claiming the Traveler exhibits the same traits. As they continue speaking, a voice overrides the ghost. Disciple of the dark. Adversary? This one is not for you. And then the ghost explodes. The Traveler is not the one taking control of the ghost. It'd be out of character for the Traveler to talk to Rolk, and with such distinction that Rolk knows it's not the ghost speaking, it's adversary. This is the Gardener taking control. Let's take a look at another piece of lore, the Legacy's Oath Mark. So, Saint 14 is having a dream, fighting against hordes of Vex, and then a woman appears. She is described as having black clothes and prematurely gray hair. She then says, "You'll blind yourself with all that bright fire. Maybe then you'll finally learn to look instead of see, just like your father, all of you." And then she checks Saint's head like a mother checking for a fever. She compares Saint's wrath to his father, a father everyone seems to share. This woman is the Gardener, and she is referring to the Winnower, humanity's father. And she is humanity's mother, and she even exhibits motherly traits when checking on Saint. To add even more proof, we've vaguely seen the Gardener in game many times before. This veiled statue is the Gardener. Each statue has a sphere-like formation encircling it. The circles represent the Traveler, and how the Gardener is a true creator, and the statue is in a familiar stance. Take a look at this statue, and notice Destiny's labyrinth in the background. The labyrinth has been a common motif that has been appearing in the game for years, first being seen in this concept art, and been apparent in Season of the Rivals, Emblems, Witch Queen. It's shown up a lot. This labyrinth seems to be associated with both the light and dark, representing a convergence between the two. In Gnosticism, there exists a labyrinth of initiation, which looks very similar to the one in Destiny. I discovered this while editing this video, so I'll definitely make a more in-depth video on the labyrinth in the future once Final Shape has released. Sophia is sometimes associated with a bird, typically a dove, and in Destiny there have been many times where feathers and birds relate to the Paracausal, the Traveler, and the Gardener, mainly taking the form of a hawk. In an early Destiny 2 cutscene, we see a vision of a hawk soaring through the skies, and that same hawk appears later on when we attain Hawkmoon. This hawk also appears in the Final Shape Vidoc, where we see it flying above the Traveler and seemingly creating the ghosts after the collapse centuries ago. I believe the hawk is a manifestation of the Gardener, and the creation of the ghosts is humanity's divine spark. This is another correlation between the gardener and Sophia. The two are associated with imagery relating to a bird. In Destiny, it's a hawk, while in Gnosticism, a dove. While I'm working on this video, Bungie released the Final Shape launch trailer. In the trailer, Cade says, "You said it spoke to you," then immediately cuts to the veiled figure.
You said it spoke to you.
The editor of the trailer did this on purpose. The thing that spoke to Zavala is the veiled figure, the gardener. This whole gardener is the veiled statue correlation can now be a stretch, as there is a good amount of evidence that points to the statues being the witness's race and not the gardener. I still think it could be the gardener, and if it's revealed that it's not, it doesn't nullify the gardener's existence. So, what does this now mean for the final shape and beyond? I believe in the final shape we will discover the gardener and she will help us destroy the witness, and her existence confirms the existence of the Winnower. This will set up a pretty cool future for Destiny, as by using Prismatic and transcending to the paracausal Aeonic plane, we will be able to face the Aeons. By ascending to the pleroma plane, we will have some control over existence as the Aeons do. This also aligning with Savathun's Two Truths and Two Lies. In one of her games, there was the following statements. Savathun is in control of Io, Titan, and Mercury. The witness returned Mars from the void. Guardians will soon learn to move planets, and the Taken King will return. We know Savathun is not in control of the vaulted planets, as she was dead when Titan returned back in Season of the Deep, and we stopped Oryx, the Taken King, from returning in Ghost of the Deep. This leaves two truths. The witness did return Mars from the void, we know that's true, and Guardians in the Aeonic plane will be able to move planets. We won't be alone in the Aeonic plane. There are dozens of Aeons that we can encounter and fight against. If Bungie is truly drawing from Gnosticism, then the second saga will be focused on setting up the Aeons and having us fully embrace and explore this new Aeonic plane of existence. What do you think of this theory? I would like to credit Venextron for his unveiling video, which is where I got some of my in-lore evidence from. His unveiling video is a big inspiration for this one, and if you'd like more about what's actually in Destiny lore, I'd check it out. I'll link it in the description below. I'd also like to thank Commander Anon for his documentation of the Destiny Labyrinth. This goes very deep, and I'll be making a video covering the topic in the near future. I realized that the Labyrinth had bigger connections to Gnosticism than I thought, so it deserves its own video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the final shape.